Good evening, darling. This is just a short little video. Sonofqueen was saying that he was a bit worried about some of the comments that I've made, and of course I feel awful if any of the dwarves out there watching are feeling that I've been a bit unfair, and I have been in my comments about dwarves. It's mostly just a cultural difference. You know, our beauty standards are very different, and of course physically we're very different. So per his and his Dwarven mother's request, I'm going to talk briefly a little bit about just Dwarven women and how beautiful they can be. Of course, it's hard, I think, for other non-dwarf mortals, and then of course even us elves, to tell the difference between male and female dwarves, and I think very few of us ever knowingly meet a female dwarf. I think between sort of the facial hair, which only dwarves seem to have in both men and women, and then of course sort of the body type and everything, it's sometimes very difficult for us to tell the difference on sight. Now, I have noticed that many Dwarven women tend to do more sort of shortening of the beard and mustache, and they tend to have more intricately beaded or braided facial hair. And then of course there are many Dwarven women that have the super long, just absolutely gorgeous, you can't even imagine how intricate all of that can be braided and wefted, and what can be added to just add sort of a feminine beauty into what I think many people who aren't dwarves would think of as a much more masculine sort of look. And so I did have the honor, just once, only once, of getting to see a beard fashion show, and I can't even begin to explain just how amazing the fashion was. And I would just like to say, for any of you out there that perhaps think that there's not much you can do with a beard or a mustache, and of course for the other elves out there, you know, we always pride ourselves in what we can do with our hair, but when you have hair everywhere, the things you can do it's a whole nother level, darling, honestly, just a whole other level. And well, I tend to not try to get myself thinking about mortals in that sort of way, because of course it's a dangerous, slippery slope to begin on. I have found myself appreciating, there we go, appreciating many Dwarven women for their beauty. So I would like, actually, if we could, to sort of start a bit of a cultural panel. Perhaps we could get some representatives, a human, a dwarf, a hobbit. I don't think any orcs watch this show, but if a goblin or an orc or some other sort of creature out there wants to talk about that, I would love to have sort of a panel discussion about sort of cultural differences that we have between races, and sort of maybe we can work out some of these long-standing tiffs between our peoples. So if any of you are interested in that, of course, please leave me a comment either below, if you're on YouTube, or in my inbox, just letting me know which race you would like to sort of represent. And of course, if you have any questions you'd like to submit to the panel, then by all means, please do that as well. I'm just going to stop here in the interest of time, but of course, any dwarf can tell you much more than I ever could about the beauty of the Dwarven, as they say in Kazdu, and I'm probably butchering that word, so sorry. So yes, I hope that that sort of can be the first step in some cultural understanding between our peoples. So have a good evening, darlings. Ta-ta.